Long ago, in the heart of Egypt, the Israelites toiled as slaves under Pharaoh's oppressive rule. For generations they cried out to God, and he heard their plea. God chose Moses, a humble shepherd, to deliver his message to Pharaoh.
"Let my people go."
But Pharaoh stood defiant, his voice cold and unyielding.
Who is the Lord, that I should obey him? I do not know the Lord, and I will not let Israel go.
Pharaoh's hardened heart set the stage for God's power to be revealed. The first plague struck Egypt's lifeblood, the Nile River. Moses stretched out his staff and the waters turned to blood. Fish floated lifeless and the air filled with a putrid stench. Egyptians scrambled for fresh water, digging along the river banks. But Pharaoh's magicians imitated the sign, and Pharaoh dismissed Moses with a wave of his hand. Then came the second plague. Frogs poured out of the river, invading every corner of Egypt. They leapt into homes, kitchens, and even Pharaoh's palace. Overwhelmed, Pharaoh called Moses.
Pray to the Lord to take the frogs away, and I will let your people go.
Moses prayed, and the frogs died, leaving piles of decay. But as soon as the plague lifted, Pharaoh hardened his heart again. The third plague arrived without warning. Moses struck the dust, and it turned into gnats that swarmed over Egypt. They crawled on people and animals alike. Even Pharaoh's magicians, powerless to replicate this, declared,
"This is the finger of God."
But Pharaoh refused to listen. The fourth plague came as swarms of flies filled the land, buzzing and biting. Homes were overrun, yet in Goshen, where the Israelites lived, not a single fly was seen. God had drawn a line, showing his power to protect his people. Still, Pharaoh's heart remained unmoved. The fifth plague struck the livestock. Horses, donkeys, camels, all fell ill and died. Pharaoh sent messengers to Goshen and found that the Israelites' livestock were untouched. Yet his pride would not let him yield. The sixth plague brought boils. Painful sores broke out on Egyptians, even their priests and magicians. Pharaoh's advisors pleaded with him, but he stood firm, unwilling to release the Israelites. The seventh plague came as hail rained destruction across Egypt. Fire flashed within the storm, tearing through crops and livestock left in the fields. Pharaoh, for the first time, admitted,
This time I have sinned. The Lord is in the right, and I and my people are in the wrong.
But as soon as the hail stopped, Pharaoh's heart hardened once more. Then came the eighth plague, locusts. Moses raised his staff and a swarm darkened the sky, devouring every green plant and tree. Egypt's fertile lands became barren. Pharaoh begged Moses to pray, saying,
Forgive my sin once more, and pray to the Lord your God to take this deadly plague away from me.
But when relief came, so did Pharaoh's stubbornness. The ninth plague brought an eerie darkness. For 3 days, Egypt was shrouded in a thick, oppressive night. No one could see or move, yet light remained in the homes of the Israelites. Even then, Pharaoh refused to let them go. Finally, God sent the 10th and most devastating plague. Moses warned Pharaoh,
At midnight, the Lord will strike down every firstborn in Egypt, from the palace to the lowliest servant.
The Israelites, following God's command, marked their doorposts with the blood of a lamb. At midnight, the Lord passed through Egypt, and the firstborn in every Egyptian home perished. Wailing filled the night as Pharaoh himself lost his son. Broken and defeated, Pharaoh summoned Moses.
Leave my people. Go, you and the Israelites. Worship the Lord as you have requested.
Through the 10 plagues, God revealed his power over nature, rulers, and false gods. He protected his people and demonstrated that no force could stand against his will. The story of the plagues is a powerful reminder that God is faithful to his promises and mighty to save, even in the face of the greatest opposition.